guys, it is April from Getting Hugo With It. Today I am here to do my revisiting my October book haul. So this is the second time I'm doing this kind of video where I revisit an old haul and kind of assess like how many books have I read here, how many books do I still have to go, how many books are still on my shelves just hanging out waiting to be read, and I choose one of the books from the list of unread books and read it this October. So we're going back a year to October of 2017, looking at all of my book hauls, and it's good. I'm actually really happy that I'm doing this. I've found an enormous difference. In September, I chose Life After Life. Love that book. So it works. It absolutely works. Let's get into it. So we have 52 books to get through here. So get yourself a cup of tea, get cozy, and let's begin. So first I want to talk to you about a thriller haul that I did back in October of 2017 and some of the books that I bought then. First book up is Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. Now I have read this, I crossed it off my list and absolutely loved this book. I love all of Gillian Flynn. I feel like she can do no wrong for me. I'm not going to go into too much detail about all of these books because that would become really overwhelming and this video would end up being like an hour long. So I'm not going to do that to you guys. But I read Dark Places, loved it. If you're looking for a good thriller for this time of year, actually, it's perfect for something like that. Dark Places is a good one to go to. Next is Reconstructing Amelia. I haven't read this. This is a really interesting book because it takes a look at basically a school. We follow a mother whose daughter commits suicide, or does she, at her own school. That sounds absolutely fantastic. Number 3 is Strangers on a Train by Patricia Highsmith. This is like classic in the thriller genre, classic, thriller mystery genre, I should say. I still haven't read this. Number 4 is Sworn to Silence. I enjoyed this. I read it. I've also donated it. So this is a first book in a very long series. And I started to read the other books in the series and realized it just wasn't for me. So I've donated Sworn to Silence. I think it could be good as just a standalone if you're up for something like that. I enjoyed it. Number 5 is Broken Harbour by Tana French. Now, Tana French is so well known on BookTube and just in the book world generally, and I still haven't read anything by her. This is, I think, number 3 or 4 in the Dublin Murder Squad series, and it sounds really good about like a family that's murdered in suburbia. Number 6 is Still Missing, another famous book in a series. So this is the Louise Penny series, the first in the series. It takes place in autumn. I mean, that would be perfect for this time of year. So that is on my radar as well. Haven't read it. And moving on to a different haul that I did in October of last year. And this one is Addicted to Historical Fiction. And you all know that I very much am addicted to it. So first up is Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. This is supposed to be brilliant. Like brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Why haven't I read this yet? This is one of those books that I'm kind of angry with myself for not having read it yet. So that is definitely a contender. Number 8 is The Taming of the Queen. This is Philippa Gregory, and I just don't get on with her, so I have donated that book. It's off of my shelves. Next up, Z for Zelda Fitzgerald. I still hesitate to read this. She's just an interesting kind of character. So, still on the fence about that one. The People of the Book by Geraldine Brooks. Now, I tried to read a book by Geraldine Brooks this year about the plague. I didn't get on with it. I listened to it on audiobook. I really hated it. I had to DNF it because the audiobook was the worst I've ever listened to, ever. So I don't think I'm going to be picking this one up, but I'm not willing to part with it. World Without End. This is the second in the Ken Follett series for the Pillars of the Earth. I should probably start with Pillars of the Earth though. So that's still not done. Moving on to sad books. I did a whole haul about sad books, so if you want to go and watch that, you can. Never Let Me Go. I've read it. Wonderful, wonderful. One of those books that stays with you forever. The Opposite of Loneliness. This is a very, well, it's a sad book in some ways because the author of this book was a young, bright, upcoming writer, and she died tragically in a car crash, and this is her work. So I do want to read it. Stay With Me is another book that I received actually from a Goodreads giveaway. It is about infertility. I don't know if this is the right time for me to be reading that. It's such a heavy thing for me right now, and I kind of just need to like avoid it at all costs. Flowers for Algernon. I still haven't read that one, but it's another, I don't know if it's a classic, but it's so well known that I feel like I should have read that. A Mother's Reckoning. A Mother's Reckoning is nonfiction written from a woman whose one of her sons was responsible for the Columbine shootings. That should be a very difficult read, but also really important. And then White Oleander is the last one on the list that I haven't read. Very sad book about a mother and daughter relationship that's very tainted and twisted, and yeah. Moving on to a mystery and thriller haul that I did last year. Still missing is a book about a kidnapping, I think. And that should always be, those are fun ones. The Forgotten Girls, I think this is right in the middle of a detective series that I haven't started. So I don't know if I should read the other ones before I jump in. It's always hit or miss. Some of them you can do that with and others you cannot. The Kept is an interesting kind of revenge story, so I still haven't read that. Find Her. I don't even remember what that's about. It's terrible. I think it's by Lisa Gardner and it's one of her more famous ones, but I don't know what it's about. No One Knows. This is like a domestic thriller. I've been struggling with domestic thrillers lately. I'm realizing I like other kinds of thrillers. I struggle with domestic, so those are hit and miss. And then we've got 3 books from that Kate Burkholder series that I've gotten rid of them. So Among the Wicked, After the Storm, and The Dead Will Tell. They're all gone. Okay, and then we get into our straight up October book haul. So the first part of the October book haul was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Oh my goodness, I read this and loved this. I buddy read this with Katie from Life Between Words, and we both really enjoyed it. If you like the idea of reading about like old Hollywood with lots of secrets, this is a really fun one to read. I totally loved it. The Wasp Factory is an interesting one. I haven't read it, but it's like about a murderer from the perspective of the murderer, and that's always good. The Aftermath is about Germany after World War II, which sounds very interesting as well. Haven't read it. When She Woke is sci-fi meets, I think, The Scarlet Letter. I haven't read it. You Came Back. I think I donated this one. It was going to be like a paranormal ghost story, but with more heart about a child dying, and I just didn't think it was for me. Lost at Sea is by John Ronson or Ron Johnson. I always forget his name, but I love his work, and I still haven't read that. The Polished Hoe. I believe it's Canadian and one of my sister's favorite books, and I should probably get around to that pretty soon. The Girls in the Garden is another thriller by Lisa Jewell about girls, I think, being hurt or like attacked in a neighborhood garden, and so it's one of the neighbors who's done it. Sounds really fun. The House I Loved by Tatiana de Rosnes, set in France, and that to me gives me more spring vibes, so I don't think that I'm going to read that this fall. Endurance. This was sent to me by Penguin Random House Canada, and this is a nonfiction about a man who goes up to space and his experience there. So that sounds good. I feel guilty that I haven't read that one yet. The Romanov Sisters, nonfiction about the Romanov sisters. I still know nothing about. It intrigues me, but I've still not managed to do it. The Rebel Wife. I think this is about the Civil War, but that's about all I know, and I still haven't read it. Coptown, Karen Slaughter. Karen Slaughter, I mean, this is a good time of year to read Coptown, so that might happen. Okay, moving on to the second part of the October book haul that I did last year. East of Eden. This is a beast. This is a beast, but it's also a classic, and I've heard only good things about East of Eden. I still haven't read it. A Man Called Uwe. I still have not read. And everyone, I feel like now everyone's read all of Frederick Bachman's works, and I'm the only person who hasn't. That's kind of where I think I'm at. So that should probably be a contender for me. Dismantled, I donated. It just didn't call out to me. China Dolls by Lisa C. I've heard mixed things about that one in particular, and I wasn't entirely blown away by Snowflower and the Secret Fan. So, I just read that, so I probably won't pick that one up. Okay, more from that Kate Burkholder series. Pray for Silence and Breaking Silence and Gone Missing. I've donated all of them. The Secrets of Mary Bowser. This one is so cool, and I still haven't read it. It's about a woman, a black woman, I think during or right before the Civil War. She poses as a slave in the White House, I think, so that she can spy on people to see like what their positions are. So it just sounds absolutely fantastic. I really want to read that. So that's another contender. The Life We Bury. I think it follows a student who interviews a man in jail. Jane Eyre. I've read that. Finally getting to stuff that I've read. I have read that and enjoyed it. That would be another good one for this time of year because it's like gothic romance. Very good. The Woman in Cabin 10. I still haven't read. A thriller, and I would like to read it at some point. Gob's Grief. I donated. It wasn't from me. I think my sister ended up grabbing it from the books I was donating. Kind of Cruel. I also donated because it was right in the middle of a series, and I wasn't even interested in the series. I got rid of that. And then Songs of Willow Frost is another book by Jamie Ford, who also wrote Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. I haven't read it. So, okay, in total, we've got 52 books here. I have only read 5. That's so bad. Okay, but I did donate 12, so that's good. So I still have 36 left over. 36! I think I'm getting slightly better about my book hauls, and I'm not buying as much, but I'm not much better than I was. So, okay, the books that have really called out to me from all of the books that I bought last October, I've got 2 here. Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet, because I feel really badly that I haven't read it. This is World War II fiction about a man named Henry, and he's outside of the Panama Hotel, which has been, shut down for a really long time. There is a ton of belongings in there of people who were taken and transported to Japanese internment camps. And Henry, is there to see if he can find anything about a childhood friend of his. Doesn't that sound heartbreaking and fascinating and mysterious all at once? It really does to me. So this is a contender. And Living in the Aftermath of Tragedy, A Mother's Reckoning by Sue Klebold, about the mom of the Columbine shooter, is another contender. I've heard amazing things about this. Julie over at A Girl and a Book has talked about this several times to me, and apparently it's amazing on audiobook, so I think I'm going to be going with this one, and hopefully I'll be able to grab the audiobook of it because I've heard it's really good. Now, she wrote this herself. I believe she narrates it herself, and I believe all of the proceeds that she gets from this goes to a charity. I just think it's must be the hardest thing to go through, to know that your child did that, and also to have lost your own child, and to try and come back from that would be incredibly difficult. But I just think it's a really important book, and I've been meaning to get to it for a very long time now. So I think I'm going with A Mother's Reckoning. Wish me luck. I'll probably be bawling my eyes out a lot. Anyway, let me know in the comments below, what did you think of the books that I mentioned on here? Were you upset that I chose A Mother's Reckoning? Which book did you want me to choose? I would love to know. I hope you guys are doing really well, and I will talk with you soon. Okay, bye guys.